What is up, Ivy Leaguers? It is a great day, great Sunday, day after of an awesome day of college football. It was a wild one at that. All right, we're going to dive right into the analysis. So, Georgia, Tennessee, like I said in my short video, Georgia dominated, especially in that second half, winning 31 to 17, not letting Tennessee score in the second half, and it really got them back on track after a really tough loss to Ole Miss. So I think Georgia is definitely back. And like I said in that shorts video, I was kind of predicting what was going to happen in the game. And I said Georgia's hungry. Georgia's really mad. And when Georgia's mad, they are very, very good. And we definitely saw that last night. And Tennessee's offense has really looked off the past really couple of weeks. Even against Alabama, they didn't look great. Alabama just played really poorly. So Tennessee's offense, they really need to figure out their offense before they can really make that playoff push because right now, the SEC is wide open, folks. I mean, I do not know who and how they're going to decide this SEC championship game. And we're going to talk a lot about that today, just kind of giving you a preview for the whole episode. We're going to talk about SEC race, college football race, playoff race, and I'm going to give you some NBA since NBA season's really starting to kick into gear. It's the best time of the year for sports. I'm telling you, you got NFL's good, college football's coming down to the wire, NBA starting, college basketball starting. It's awesome. It's the best time of the year. Plus Christmas is coming up, and that's always fun. Anyway, so for this SEC race, all right, let's break it down. So Texas A&M has one SEC loss. Texas has one SEC loss. Alabama has two SEC losses. Georgia has two SEC losses. Tennessee has two SEC losses. And Ole Miss has two SEC losses. This playoff, or this SEC championship race is crazy. And I don't know how they're going to decide this because, so Texas and Texas A&M play each other. So one of those teams will have two losses. There's going to be one team, unless an upset happens, there's going to be one team with one SEC loss. Let's say Texas beats Texas A&M, and it's Texas with one SEC loss. So that means there's five other teams with two SEC losses that are tied for second place. Who gets in? I don't know. I can't tell you. Because I have no idea how they would decide this. I think it was Kirk Herbstreit. No, it was Greg McElroy. Greg McElroy broke it down and said they would have to decide based on strength of schedule who the next team would be. And right now, if you look at strength of schedule, Alabama would be that second team because they have had the hardest, they have the highest strength of schedule out of those five teams that would be considered for that second SEC championship spot. And if you're an Alabama fan, like me, if you're new to the channel, I'm a little biased towards Alabama, as you can tell. Alabama almost does not want to make the SEC championship game. Because realistically, what if you go to the SEC championship and lose if you're Alabama? Or if you're any of these other two-loss teams? If you're Alabama or Georgia or Tennessee or Ole Miss or Texas A&M, well, Texas A&M is a bit of a different scenario because they lost to Notre Dame earlier in the year. So if you're Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama, and you go to the SEC championship and lose to Texas, are you going to make the playoffs? Because then you're a three-loss team. But you're a three-loss conference championship runner-up. So I don't know how the committee would decide. Like, would the committee punish you for making the SEC championship game? I personally don't think they should. I personally think that the SEC championship and the championship games are not there to eliminate teams from the college football playoff. They are there to grant opportunity to make the college football playoff. And I would find it really hard to get behind leaving a runner-up in the SEC championship out of the college football playoff. Now, of course, if Alabama or Tennessee or Ole Miss or Georgia, whoever that second spot in the SEC championship is, if they win that game against, let's say, Texas beats Texas A&M, then this doesn't really matter. This conversation is over because then that team will have the first round bye in the college football playoff. And then we'll have a whole nother mess on how many SEC teams make the college football playoff. I find it hard to believe that any less than four will make the college football. Any less than four SEC teams will make the college football playoff, because you have to have the conference champion. You have to have the runner-up, in my opinion. So that's two SEC teams out of 12. I think you have to have another. I think you have to have two more at least. I think you can make a case for five SEC teams in the college football playoff easily. Will the committee put five SEC teams in? I find it hard to believe that they will, but I really think that the committee should put five SEC teams, if they all win out, of course, in this college football playoff, because if they're looking to get the best out of it, then they will, if they put five SEC teams in. Now, of course, the Big Ten also is a mess. Oregon had a scare last night against Wisconsin, and they called arguably one of the worst play calls I have ever seen. Oregon was on the road at Wisconsin. It was 16-13 with about a minute 30 left in the football game. All right? Oregon has the ball, and they're way in Wisconsin territory. It's an easy field goal. It's 4th and 5, 4th and 6 maybe. So Oregon lines up to kick a field goal, as one does. They would go up 6 points with a minute 30, and they would and Wisconsin would be forced to go and score a touchdown instead of kick a field goal. Oregon, Dan Lanning, the head coach of Oregon, decides to run a fake field goal, and it doesn't work. It got blown up. And I don't know why you would call a fake field goal there. Now, they got lucky that on the ensuing Wisconsin possession that a ball was tipped up and intercepted by an Oregon player, and that was the ball game. But why is Dan Lanning calling a fake field goal with that much time left? I have no idea. That is truly one of the worst play calls I have ever seen. And he got lucky it didn't ruin this season, this perfect season, because they're undefeated so far. And the Big Ten is a mess, and say they don't make the Big Ten championship because they lost to Wisconsin because they tried to fake a field goal up 3. I don't know why. I can't even fathom this. Why on earth are you doing that? It makes no sense to me. But then again, like I always say, next time I coach a college football game would be my first. But boy, that is a wild play call. I have no unearthly idea why he would do that. But then, moving on in the Big Ten, Ohio State, they're rolling. I think they're pretty much good for the rest of the season. Indiana is traveling to Ohio State this weekend, and that's going to be a heck of a game because I think whoever wins that game between Indiana and Ohio State will end up making the conference championship. And it's Indiana's first real test. Indiana has really not played anybody this season. And while they are undefeated, and while they have only trailed for 3 minutes in regulation, I just don't see how they can go into Columbus and win. And maybe they will. Hold on. Indiana's head coach is a winner. Everywhere he's gone, he's won. And he has clearly built a program here in Indiana in just 1 year. But I find it hard to believe that they beat Ohio State in Columbus. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm dead wrong. And maybe they will blow them out. And they very much could. I actually, in my head, see a possibility where Indiana comes out the gates and blows them out. But I don't think that'll happen. I really think Ohio State has a very talented roster. After the Oregon loss, they've looked pretty solid since then on. Obviously, they went on the road to beat Penn State, which is not an easy task. So I think Ohio State will not only win the Indiana game, but they will go on to make the Big Ten championship and probably make a run in the playoffs. So the Big Ten is crazy. The ACC is crazy. SMU, undefeated in conference play, is definitely the underrated team of the year, in my opinion. They've only lost one game by 3 points to BYU, who is also in playoff contention. And for some reason, SMU is ranked number 14. I don't know. they're also undefeated in conference play and are ranked behind teams that are not undefeated in conference play. So I'll be interested to see how on Tuesday the college football playoff committee's top 25 rankings, when they come out, I'll be interested to see where they put SMU, because they had another very good win on Saturday. I mean, it's getting down to the crazy stuff at this point, guys. I mean, I don't understand how the committee will narrow it down to 12 teams, because also then you have to have that non-Power 5 team or non-Power 4 team in the playoffs. So I have no idea how they do this. Makes no sense to me. Now let's talk about the Heisman Trophy for a minute. The most prestigious award in all of college football, awarded to the best college football player. I don't know if that's the actual description of the award. I have no idea. But that's how I'm describing it to you now. All right, so I've kind of narrowed it down to 5 candidates for this Heisman Trophy, all right? One, the one I want to win, Ashton Jeanty, the running back out of Boise State who has broken records. He's very close to beating Barry Sanders' single-season rushing record for one season. And if he does, I think he has to win the Heisman, because you can't break an all-time record and not win the Heisman, in my opinion. So Ashton Jeanty's 1. Then 2, you have Travis Hunter, the social media phenom who plays both offense and defense and is very skilled at both positions. Most likely going to be a top 2, top 3 pick in the NFL draft, in my opinion. I really like Hunter, but I personally don't think he should win over Jeanty. But I think he's number 2, 100%. I think he's number 2 behind Ashton Jeanty. But Vegas favors Travis Hunter right now. Then number 3, I think Cam Ward, Miami's quarterback. He's very good. He truly looks like a stud. That's the only word to describe him. He can throw the ball crazy. He can run the ball crazy. He is the clutch. He's the most clutch player ever. Or not ever, but this season. Now, he did suffer one non-clutch moment against Georgia Tech where he fumbled it, leading to Georgia Tech winning the football game. That is one moment. But he's a very good, he's a stud, like I said. He's a great player. But I don't think he'll win it. I think he's behind Jeanty and Travis Hunter. Next is kind of a tie between Dillon Gabriel and Jalen Milroe. Those kind of interchange for 4 and 5 for many different reasons. I mean, Milroe's definitely gotten back on track after the LSU game. Like, he dominated LSU, rushed for 4 touchdowns, 185 yards, and threw for another however many. So Milroe's back, and then Dillon Gabriel, undefeated Oregon. He's played a great season. But those two are kind of at the bottom of the pack, in my opinion, in the top 5. So I think I want Ashton Jeanty to win, because I find it hard to believe that you can break a record and not win. And break a record like that also. So I don't know about that, but I think that I hope that Ashton Jeanty would win if he breaks Barry Sanders' record. I think if he doesn't break Barry's record, then Travis Hunter will be the Heisman Trophy winner. I think it's as simple as that. It comes down to those two, really. Now we're going to talk a little bit of basketball. We've been talking football for pretty much like 6 months, I feel like. Because that's what it is. Football, college football especially. College football is my go-to. Y'all all know this, but let's talk a little NBA action. All right. NBA season's finally getting underway. The surprise team kind of coming out of the gates has been the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last time I checked, they were like 14-0, which is crazy. I mean, you would not expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to be 14-0 to start the season. So they've been playing some really good basketball. I think they're a team that's looking like a possible NBA playoff contender. Now, it's really early to start talking about the playoffs in the NBA. Because, I mean, what are we doing? We got forever. It feels like we got like 6 months of basketball, really, still to go. It's not actually 6 months. It's probably closer to 4 or 5 months. Well, maybe. Something like that. I'm not sure. But it's really early to say like, oh, this team's gonna be here when we get to the playoffs. But who knows? Maybe they will be. Maybe they won't. JJ Redick, new coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, he's done a very very good job so far with the Lakers. And it's really hard to coach a player like LeBron James, but so far he's done a very good job with it. And I think he definitely could be this new young coach that kind of expands the league and takes the league by storm. The Lakers have looked good this season too, especially after sending Bronny James down to the G League, which you can have your opinions on Bronny James. I don't think his career is over yet, but I think he needs to develop in the G League, and then he can maybe strive in the NBA. But then again, he is LeBron James' son, so those genetics certainly help, right? They do. But the Lakers definitely have looked good so far this season. Grizz are my Memphis Grizzlies. I lived in Memphis for a while, so I root for the Grizz. They're looking kind of okay. Ja's hurt again, not for long, I don't think. I haven't seen very much on his injury, but of course, as soon as we get him back, he gets injured again. It's kind of the joke, right? So Grizz have been fine. But the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks, have kind of been so-so, not awesome, not horrible. So I mean, it's just like I said, it's really early to tell what's gonna happen because in the NBA, you play however many games, and we're 15 games through in a season. That's not enough to say who's gonna be good come playoff time. That's not. We just don't know. I think the Warriors have looked really good this season. Steph Curry has been putting up numbers. Maybe he can get another ring, And then I think if Steph Curry gets one more ring in his career, we have to start considering him as possibly better than LeBron James. And that's a bold statement, I know. And people are going to be like, you can't call him better than LeBron, but I think if he gets one more ring, we have to start considering it. I think we have to start considering Curry. If not already, start considering Curry in the GOAT conversation. So, anyway, the Warriors have looked really good. Celtics have started the season pretty strong, trying to go back-to-back maybe. Jason Tatum trying to prove everyone wrong. Jason Tatum is kind of like the joke of the league. He's kind of copying everyone, You see all the Jason Tatum memes on Instagram and all. But hey, I mean, the Celtics have played pretty well to start the season. So yeah. I mean, I don't think they'll go back to back, but maybe. You never know. All right, that's it for today. Until next time, this is Ivy Taylor signing off.